You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Chopra. Ahead of the Lok Sabha polls, Rahul Gandhi, while addressing a rally in Hyderabad, has vowed that after coming to power, Congress party will be conducting a wealth survey after promising to conduct a caste census in the Congress's manifesto called the Nyay Patra. Congress had initially promised to fill nearly 30 lakh vacancies in sanctioned posts at several levels in the central government and central government institutions. Rahul Gandhi has stated that the wealth survey will ensure and ascertain the redistribution of wealth and run a check on who possesses the wealth in the country. Rahul Gandhi, while addressing a rally in Shahdol, Madhya Pradesh, today has emphasized that the caste census and later an economic survey would expose the truth. What really are the ends of this particular goal? We take this conversation forward with our viewers and our panelists, Savi Rodriguez of the BJP, Ikram Sandhu of the Congress, Vineet Goenka, political analyst with me on the broadcast, and also Piyush Pant, political analyst with us as well. Let me begin this conversation, if I can, with Ikram Sandhu. Ikram, I just want to understand from you, when Rahul Gandhi says that it's important for us to know how much money Adani has and how much money the rich people in this country have, what does that truly mean?
Good evening to all. Devika ji, in any country, these redistributions keep on happening. I'll take you back to our own history. When we got independence, there was something known as a Zimidara system that we had in this country. Now, huge landlords had huge lands and people over generations were working for them. What was the first amendment that our government of Jawaharlal Nehru ji did? It came up with the Zimidara Act, by which the landless laborers who were working in that land for generations and generations were given right over that land. Now, these all doomsayers at that time said, will kill economy, will kill the farmers. What are you doing? And Pakistan never did that. And what do you have? Pakistan today is still a feudal society where a few have all the riches as far as the village level, as far as farming is concerned, while in India, it has been broad-based. Then I'll give you another example. We gave privy purses to the royalty. This was withdrawn in 1969 by Indiraji. Again, everybody said it is a promise that you have given them. How can you take it back? But it had to be taken back because those resources could be better utilized for the poor of this country. And the rich are still rich. The Maharajas are still very rich. But that privy purse that was given to them has been withdrawn and is being utilized for the betterment of the public. Where we come on redistribution is basically the tax structure. What has happened is in the last 10 years, the rich have been given advantage of the tax structure. Where they had a tax liability of something like 32% to pay, today they are just paying 22 to 23%. This works out to 3 lakh crore every year that we are not taking in tax from the rich. And what are we doing? We are taxing milk, we are taxing paneer, we are taxing vegetables at 5% on GST and taking it from the poor. This is what redistribution will be, that if you are rich, you have to pay that income tax at a higher slab, and the poor have to be given some kind of assurance that they will not be taxed and their life will be made easier. That is all that Rahul Gandhi ji is talking about, and that is the way forward. In countries like America or in Europe, you have wealth tax. You have a wealth tax which all corporates have to pay, all rich people have to pay, which you don't have here. And that is the redistribution that will take place. And I don't think so there's anything wrong.
Okay,
if 70% of the population get advantage and 1% of the people have to pay for it, I believe it is kosher for the country.
Okay, Ikram Sandhu, so essentially that's what people were not understanding. When you say there will be a wealth survey and then there will be redistribution of wealth, people just wanted to understand what does that mean. So now you've clarified that what the Congress party means from its statement is that they will reform the taxation system in India.
Absolutely. That is the only way that it can be done, because what does the government work on in a very layman's term?
Why does that require a wealth survey though?
What do you mean by wealth survey? What we are basically saying, I'm giving you the figures of that wealth survey, that over the period of the last 10 years, the tax benefits that have been given to the rich have accrued to them advantages of 3 lakh crores every year. So that is the kind of advantage.
No, I'm saying that if you already have the figures, then what is the need for a survey? Why does Rahul Gandhi come and say in a rally that how much money does Adani have? Let's find out.
If you want to nitpick, everybody knows how much money Adani has.
I'm sorry, Mr. Sandhu, I have to nitpick. We're talking about the future of the country. I have to nitpick, sir.
You never nitpick when the Honorable Prime Minister said that I'll give 2 crore jobs every year. Have you nitpicked how many jobs he has given in the last?
Of course we do. Of course we ask.
Show me a program and a figure that you have come out with that in the last 10 years, how many jobs have been given by Mr. Modi's government.
Okay.
Show me how many people have been given 15 lakh crores in their accounts. Show me all those figures. And then you can nitpick on everything that Mr. Rahul Gandhi says.
Okay, so we should not nitpick on what Mr. Rahul Gandhi says because allegedly we don't nitpick on what the Prime Minister says or promises either. I'll keep that in mind.
It has to be an even playing field.
I'll keep that in mind.
If you want to, take a hair comb and go through it, he basically meant
that.
Sir,
we're talking about economics. We're talking about the economy of the country. We're talking about the financial health of the country. I'm sorry, but the Congress party should be in a position to just respond. This is not about nitpicking, and that's not a fair. You're responding by targeting me by saying that I'm not doing my duty vis-a-vis the BJP.
That what we are talking about here is that there's a disproportionate asset. 1% of this country has 40% of the wealth of this country. That has to be.
And that 1%, and I just want to understand that 1% for Mr. Rahul Gandhi is represented by a Gautam Adani, right? That's why he keeps bringing...
Not really. You make him as the, champion figure for the rich.
I'm saying that Mr. Rahul Gandhi has mentioned Mr. Gandhi in his speech. That's the only reason why I'm asking.
He never took Mr. Adani's name.
I can just show it to you, sir. I can just show you a clip from...
speech.
I can just show you a clip from today, Madhya Pradesh. Should I play it out? Should I play out the clip? I have heard it.
Let's not mix things. We will be talking about various things, various people in various poll rallies. What we are talking about, if the corporate tax structure has to be changed, it will not be changed only for Mr. Adani. It will be changed for all corporates. I have a small business. I'm also a businessman. Even I'll come under that ambit. A mid-level businessman will come under that ambit, and a billionaire will come under that ambit. So it is not that only 1, 2, or 5 will be targeted. It is that wealth distribution has to happen. The people who can afford it have to pay for their brothers who are below the poverty line and have to be helped.
Okay, and before I move on to the rest of the panelists as well, I want to understand, so you want to change the tax system through which you hope that the rich and the wealthy will pay more and you will have more money as a government to distribute amongst the poor. You also say that there has to then be a caste census. Is the Congress party somewhere assuming that people belonging to certain castes like the SC, ST, OBC or the minorities are the ones who are not financially well off in this country? Are they the only ones that are not financially well off? I just want to understand, why is there a need for a caste survey for wealth redistribution or wealth distribution to happen?
Devika ji, when we look at it, it appears that the minorities, the SCs, the STs, the OBCs, the MBCs are disadvantaged. But it is only a caste survey which will tell us. If you have ever studied science,
so right now we're not sure, right? We're not sure. You're saying it appears. Just as to the BJP, just as to the BJP, it appears that the country is doing really well. You feel it appears that it is these 4 sections of society that continue to not be financially well off in India and nobody else.
We take a dipstick, like we see how many people are there in the civil services. We have those numbers. We see that these sections are underrepresented. If we look at in the private sector, how many of them are getting jobs in the private sector? We see that they're underrepresented. So the only scientific manner in which you can actually come to a solution is have a caste survey. Why are you afraid of it?
No, nobody's afraid of it. Nobody's afraid of it. Nobody's afraid of a caste survey. I just want to understand the correlation between the two.
The BJP has spoken against it, that no, we are not for a caste survey. Even their ally today, Mr. Nitish Kumar, when he did the caste survey in Bihar, their Bihar unit supported him, but at the national level, they were against it. So we have to agree to it.
No, Mr. Sandhu, I'm only trying to understand. I'm only trying to understand the correlation between the two and the basis of which that correlation is being made. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, let me bring it.
I am just saying.
Okay, let me bring it.
As far as the caste, just give me 10 seconds. As far as the caste survey is there, what we can do is any scientific solution only happens if you have the data with you. Good data will give you a good solution. No data will give you a very bad solution.
Okay.
So if we have a caste census, we come to know what is the exact percentage of all the castes, all the segments of the society, and then our policies can be redefined according to the requirements.
And if someone
of
doesn't
that
belong to
strata.
one of these 4 sections of society, but they're still poor, will they get the money?
There we have to come to the economically weaker section and help them out. Of course, it is not that if you belong to a high
So
caste,
economically
but you are
weaker
poor,
section will also be considered later, maybe at some point in time.
Absolutely, everybody. That is what bhagyadari is. That just because you come from a high caste, but you are in today's time you're economically weaker, doesn't matter.
Okay, but the Congress party never mentioned that, sir. Rahul Gandhi not said that even once. He's not said that once. He said that first there will be a caste census. Basis the caste census, we will do then another wealth census, and then we'll figure out how to redistribute. I just wanted to clarify that. I want to bring in the other guests as well. Vineet Goenka, what do you make of these plans of the Congress party, where on the one hand we're talking about a caste census in India, and then on the other hand we're talking about how we should be the job creators and job makers and producers of the world, and then we're also talking about wealth redistribution, which finally at least Ikram Sandhu has clarified that they're talking about a change in the taxing system, in the taxation system of the nation.
Devika ji, Ram Ram to you, Ram Ram to my co-panelists and all the viewers who are watching. I wished I had the flamboyant English like Ikram Sandhu ji, but I'm happy that I have truth with me and the facts with me, if not that English which he has. So Ikram ji, just to let you know, read the newspaper called as Business Standard, 20th February 2024. EPFO net addition. The word net addition means new members who had never been enrolled. 15.62 lakhs in December 2023 itself. Over 11% addition of the November 2023. Now I've given you figure exact numbers, which I don't know whether Rahul Gandhi will ever understand. This is quoted by the newspaper. Okay. So when you have this many people enrolling, do they enroll because they are Bharatiya Janata Party's member, or they do it because they get a job in a formal economy? Number two, let me also enlighten you, sir. In year 2014, the total taxpayer were 5.26 crore, whereas in the year 2023, the total taxpayers raised to 8.18 crore. 8.17 lakh crore was collected in 2003 as direct taxes, which is almost double of 2018. Rahul Gandhi will never understand these figures. It will be, he will go mad reading this about this. But what do you expect, Devika ji, from a party which was formed by colonial British masters and a grandson of an Italian grandfather, that, he just divides. He does the same thing what his great-grandfather Nehru did. Nehruji divided his country into two, India and Pakistan. His father was involved in massacres of Sikh. Now he's trying to divide us into caste. He's trying to divide us into North and South. So what do you expect from a colonial masters organization, from a dynasty like Nehru and Gandhi? They will only talk about this. I have given you the figures. If Ikramji or anybody from Congress has these figures on their tips, let me get educated by that. I'll withdraw my statement. If not, then they should apologize to this country to try to again divide in 2024. Level in 2024, what India has seen, Devika ji? India has seen Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. When toilets were distributed, more than 10 crore toilets were distributed. Nobody asked, what is her name? Sukhwinder, Silthia, Salma. Kya naam hai? Kisi ne nahi pucha. And who got these toilets? The toilets were given to those marginalized people who could not even afford a toilet for their sister, mother and daughters. When the gas was distributed, it was distributed to everybody. Whether it was Akram, whether it was Anthony, whether it was Amar, whether it was, anybody else. When the DBT, direct benefit transfer, was done, did anybody ask, aapka naam kya hai? Vivek hai kya? Aapka naam Vivechan hai kya? Vivian hai kya? Nobody asked. Okay. It was involved. And who are these poor? These poor are the effect and the output of the Congress rule of that 50 years, which deliberately saw that rich becomes richer and poor becomes poor. And let me remind Mr. Sandhu, these names which are taking, Adani, Ambani, they were not roaming in some metro train of Delhi before we came in power. They were rich when you were in power. You gave them contracts. And you want me to list the contracts? Sir, I can do that. You know that I have studied and I always carry my documents with me. So please, sir, before you put this kind of blame, do some study. You are an educated person. You are not like Rahul Gandhi. Don't do that, sir, please.
Okay, I want to bring in Piyush Pant as well. Piyush Pant, your understanding then of the vision that the Congress party is then setting for India in the times to come. Yes, there is disparity, and yes, we must acknowledge it. I don't want to put on any blinders and say that there aren't certain sections of society that continue to be marginalized. But the sort of society that we are today is the best way forward to once again associate caste with income inequality, as per you?
Well, Devika, one thing is clear that because after we had done 1991 economic reforms with a hope that most of the people will rise above the poverty line and they will attain an economic satisfactory economic status. But unfortunately, we have failed to realize that. Even globally, the liberalization, that model has failed. And even if you look at the other countries, now they have realized it, and now they are you can see the latest a report, in United Kingdom where Sunak is trailing. He's expected to that he will lose in the forthcoming elections, because the economic policies they haven't declared, they haven't delivered, and they have created a big gap. And so what Congress is trying to do to address this gap, maybe because redistribution is required, because this is a fact, data is available. When 1% of the population of India, they are having most of the, at least 40% of the wealth, and they are having most of the resources. And over the years, over the last 10 or 15 years, their wealth has increased. But the poorer are getting poorer. The middle class people are getting poorer. So everybody is getting, feeling the crunch of this guy.
But Mr. Pant, then who are the people who are being pulled out of poverty? What are all the reports that come out that multidimensional poverty, India has pulled XYZ number of people out of multidimensional poverty? Are we not to believe any of those reports, or are we not to believe anything that any global institution now says about the health of India's economy?
It is, but even there are questions are being raised over those figures, over the data. Because if you are talking about the report which is said to be of the Niti Aayog, that is not the report of the Niti Aayog. It is the report written by an article written by a member of the Niti Aayog, and that data is about the parameters which are required for a sustainable development. So accessibility to different things, but not as far as earning and expenditure is concerned. The main your economic condition is determined by how much you are earning and how much you are spending, whether you have spare money to live a good life or not, or all your earning are being squeezed on your day-to-day life spendings. So this is how we decide what condition we are having. Do we have good living conditions? Do we have accessibility to clean water? All these. But as far as these parameters are concerned, of course, there have been improvement. But as far as the economic condition is concerned, we have not come much forward. Still we need again, we need to go back and go for the redistribution of the wealth, because this is a fact that the wealth is being concentrated in the hands of a few people. Recently, we saw. I will just remind one thing. Recently, we saw the naked display of wealth by a particular capitalist son's pre-wedding ceremonies. So you can see how people have so much of money, and there are people still who don't have food to eat.
Okay, but Mr. Pant, are those people then not creating jobs in the country? Are they not running big empires and industries that actually end up employing people?
Of course.
I just want to understand, and I just want to understand from you.
How much they are earning and how much they are paying to the state in the form of tax. That's why we are talking about taxation.
Exactly, right? So that's what. So the Congress said, and like I said in the beginning itself, it's good to have this clarification that the Congress wants to reform the tax structure of the country. But I just want to understand from you, is it logical to see that we must first have a caste census in the country and then we must follow it up with a financial and wealth census as well? If the point is to get people who are poor out of poverty, should the caste matter?
Of course, caste matters because it determines your participation in the economic structure, in the job market. You know, if you get a good job because of your strength, if you don't get that, so how will you earn more and more? This is what is happening, because
Okay.
these people are kept out of the economic structure, out of the job market. You know, they are unable to earn handsome amount of money, handsome salaries. So they are deprived of that. If they don't earn handsome salary, they don't get their wages. How can they improve their life, economic standard? So that's why this caste census is also important to determine how much they are being given participation and being given to them in the economic structure, in the job structure, in the job opportunities. And even they are not getting what they have been given, like in the form of reserve jobs. They are not getting even that only. We can say it. We are depriving. We are the
Okay,
upper caste
all
people
right.
who are at the helm of the structure, who are helm of the power. They are not giving them even their appropriate, even their legitimate right in the form of their reserved seats.
Okay.
So this is what is happening in our country.
Okay, all right. I want to bring in Savio. Savio, you've heard what the assessment of the Congress as well as Mr. Pant is about the state of India in the past decade under your government. How do you respond?
You know, Devika, I had tears in my eyes listening to Mr. Pant and the Congress spokesperson, Mr. Sandhu. You know, I don't have a tissue with me, others I would have wiped my eyes and shown your viewers how much deeply touched I am by the hypocrisy of what they're talking about, in all fairness. Now, let me tell you why. I'll just give one example. I normally carry a lot of examples. I'll give you one example. So on August 8, 2008, actually August 7, 2008 to be precise, there was a document signed by the then General Secretary, Rahul Gandhi, with Wang Jiru, who was the director of the International Liaison Department of the Communist Party of China. And that was a document that led to what I find to be one of the biggest hypocrisies of the Congress. They talk about poor, they talk about the middle class, they talk about small companies, MSMEs, and how they've been deprived, and only 1% is earning everything about the wealth because BJP is in power. So let me give you some statistics, okay? India imports from China were 13% of the country's total imports from 2006 to 2007. After that document was signed, it rose to 17%, that is 2011 to 2012, and then goes up to as high as 21% in 2012, 2013. As a result of that, the India trade deficit with China topped USD 175 billion in those 6 years and added another 20 odd billion in the remaining 2 years that were then 2012, 2013. The UPA was the architect of the huge deficit syndrome with China. And what happened? Let me explain to your viewers what happened. You killed the MSME sector of India. You killed the SME sector of India. Products that could have been developed in India. What companies are you talking about, Mr. Sandhu and Mr. Pant? Please tell me and please tell the country. Second, you are talking about caste census. The only thing that matters in India at this point of time is not the caste. It is the economically weaker sections of society. We need to be able to increase value for them. And how do you do that? The UNDP, the United Nations Development Program's report on multidimensional poverty states that 24.82 crore people were lifted from multidimensional poverty in the last 9 years. How do you do it? You do it by putting 11.7 crore toilets, irrespective of caste or creed. You do it by having 13.8 tap water connections, 8 crore tap water connection without caste and creed. You do it because you have like 12.5 crore LPG cylinders given to people without caste or creed. You have 2.5 crore, irrespective of caste or creed, who are part of the PM Awas Yojana. You have 51,000 crore given out to 2,27,000 people from the SC/ST community and women under the Stand Up India scheme. You have assistance of 11,000 crore plus given to 2.5 million scheduled caste people in India. You have 176 special courts, 145 police stations to work towards preventing atrocities on SC and STs. You have the Pradhan Mantri Adarsh Gram Yojana development. 29,867 villages in 529 districts, impacting close to 6.7 million people from the SC/ST community and a wider range of 26.3 million. What are we talking about? I give you one example of your document which you have not made public, which destroyed what is essentially the middle class segment of India, the MSMEs and the SMEs, the entrepreneurs in that space. They were never Adani or Ambani. Why did you destroy their future? It's taking us 10 more years plus to go beyond.
Okay, I'm going to leave the last word with Ikram Sandhu. Ikram, you've heard.
Devika ji, can I speak?
Yes, you've heard what Savios had to say. How do you respond? Vineet, I'll come to you in just a moment.
Yeah, because of the paucity of time, I'll just take two. There was a lot of melodrama that happened. Vineet ji gave a figure on EPO. I'll just tell him about the economy. Vineet ji, even I read a bit. The economy of India was 0.7 trillion in 2004. When we left office, it became a 2 trillion economy. We grew the economy at 2.85%. You from 2 trillion have been able to take it only to 3.7 trillion in your 10 years, which is a 1.85 times growth. So you're already a full 100% behind us in our 10 years to what you did. Had you just maintained the growth rate that Congress had done, today we would have already been a $5.7 trillion economy. So this $2 trillion that we have lost is because of the foolish policies of your government.
That's where you're foolish, my friend.
No, I'm totally right. You are foolish. You're the biggest fool I have seen in this world. And now coming to your Mr. Modi is the only chief minister
world under lockdown. What did you have during your
Okay. I need to wrap up.
You're talking about a COVID crisis. You ignorant fool.
For him
not
and the
know.
grand.
Okay, all right. Let's not get personal with each other. Let's not get personal with each other. Please, Vineet, I leave the last word to you. Ikram Sandhu's raised a point there. Vineet, I leave the last word with you. Please wrap up.
Brother organizations, because we are the biggest in our respective countries. This is what your truth is.
Okay, Ikram, I've heard you. You're saying that the Congress party, in fact, was taking the economy to great heights, and it's under the BJP that we've lost out on many years of development that the Congress party laid out. That's what you've said. I've understood your point. Vineet, please respond to that.
Let me remind Mr. Sandhu, Ambedkar, who was not only the champion of caste abolition and equality, but he was a poll star. And Ambedkar ji, Mahamanav Bharat Ratna Babasaheb Ambedkar, was insulted by Nehru not once but twice by defeating him in the elections. So I don't know whether Mr. Sandhu knows that Congress deliberately put Mr. Patil against him and defeated him. Number two, it took Narendra Modi to build an international organization called as Ambedkar International on Janpath. And all these years, we only saw 800 roads or organizations being named under this dynasty. They never thought of putting one single institution in the name of Babasaheb Ambedkar. And it took Narendra Modi to come here. Number two, they not only insulted Ambedkar, but also insulted Sardar Patel. So we had to build this unity of structure of unity. And Mr. Sandhu, if you go there, you'll find more than 3,000 drivers getting a job every day. Sir, you have to go to India. You have to see the India. You have to come out of Lutyens. You have to come out of your ivory towers and see the true India. So my request to you is that someday take a train, travel to the country, meet people who vote. By sitting in Lutyens, you cannot understand the pain of this country. The girls who got toilets were Dalits, they were SC/STs, backwards, tribals who were not been seen by you. Else, why did 10 crore toilets been built in the last 10 years? Had you given the toilet, it's a basic necessity for a girl, for a human being. Why did we give 10 crores plus gas? Because you never thought of gas. So you never considered them to be human being. So please don't shed your crocodile tears. Lastly, Mr. Sandhu, I don't expect anything from grandson of the Italian grandfather.
Okay, all right. I don't want to get into personal jibes anymore. I've completely run out of time, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us to take this conversation forward. See you on the other side.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.